because I've put that article up on both Telegram and X. Okay. So let's have a look at, first of all, around the young woman's claims. And then we're going to ask if she's safe after that, if it looks like she's telling the truth. Here, let me adjust that a little. Well, she looks like she might be in hiding. See that Four of Pentacles? And it also looks like it was very difficult for her to do that. So Strength card, Major Arcana. So she's telling the truth. She's a really strong person. You bet. Like when you listen to that, it sounded true to me. This is interesting. So I feel like she might have been emboldened by all the truther and things coming out about it. I feel like it's going to embolden a lot of people that have suffered from satanic ritual abuse. There's a lot of info out there on social medias around this subject where even 5 years ago, barely anyone was talking about it. And if they were, a lot of people were dismissing it. And that's just not the case anymore so much. Like, of course, there's a lot of people still dismissing it, but a lot more people are paying attention to it. Okay, so yes, she's absolutely telling her truth. You bet. Now there's the Seven of, I think a lot more people will be implicated because of her truth that she tells. I also get with that Emperor in the middle that the White Hat Alliance probably has their eye on. I feel like this actually seems to answer the question, does she, like who put her up to it? Her own self. I feel like her own self went ahead and did this. That's some energy that follows their heart emotionally. And I feel like she dips in and out of thinking she did the right thing. I mean, it must be scary. Right now, she's looking really fearful because that's in the right now where she's sitting. But she is a strong person to even be able to do it. We've got this Ace and 3. So she waited till she was safely somewhere far away from her family to do that. So to put that out. So she's staying somewhere. But that doesn't answer in the right now. Does she continue to be safe? So we'll look at that as a secondary question. But she's absolutely telling the truth. And it doesn't look like she was put up to it by anybody. It looks like she came to it herself. Wow. But I also get that eyes on from the White Hat Alliance. They've got eyes on her. But let's make sure she's going to be safe. Yeah, go watch the article after you're done watching this video. It's absolutely fascinating. I mean, horrifying, but fascinating. And I feel like it's important that so please do share it on your social medias if you think you can do that, because it really, we need this kind of thing out there. Okay. It's like firsthand accounts and how families are involved. And so they're not only transitioning their kids from a young age, which is child abuse, okay, like babies, infants, but they're also doing this, like sexually abusing them and having them MK altered. Like it's absolutely horrifying what they're doing with these children. Their children are not safe with these elites. And oftentimes the child isn't even literally technically theirs, like birthed from natural mother, father, because we know about those families and how they're created. And often they don't have a natural thing going on where you could have a physical natural birth with the transition of parent, usually the mother. Okay, so like there's all of that going on. And it's just horrifying. Reading these accounts of these people that had to go through that. Okay, so we're looking at, she certainly wasn't safe. She's now safe. This is in the present moment, but she had to go through a lot. So she's been through a lot to get to wherever she is. She had to literally escape an unsafe environment. I feel like she escaped someone that was her handler. somebody was handling her, because by the age of 14, these people that are abused, satanic ritual abuse, and if they're involved in those cult families, by 14, they expect the child to now make a choice to be involved going forward, or so they stop the abuse where it's forced upon them, and they expect them to join in, abuse others themselves, and be abusers and become abusers, and often even to ritually sacrifice at that point. That's what we've heard from accounts. And, if they refuse to, at some point after 14, that's their chance to escape. I mean, I'm sure it's not easy, though, and it looks like it was really difficult for her. And I don't know how old she would be, but I'm looking at her thinking like 18 or something. So it might have taken her some time even to untangle herself enough to even be able to put that video out. So here we've got the King of Pentacles here, and we've got the 8. So let me know in the comments if you happen to notice I didn't notice an age they gave her. So let me know in the comments if you happen to have spotted that in any of the articles. Okay, so see this 8 of Pentacles here. Okay, so I feel like, yes, she's safe. She had to escape a handler, it looks like. And here we've got the Prince of Swords. She had to pretend she was going to stay in the cult. And then she had to probably spent years escaping. Okay, planning and plotting her escape. And I feel like somebody helped her. A generous person, maybe somebody close to the family, who knows, maybe even a driver, because maybe she had a driver. She definitely had a handler, and if they're wealthy and they're in the station that woman was in, her mother, the minister, in the government, maybe they had drivers, maybe they had people cooking for them, etc. Who knows who that could have been? But somebody took her under their wing a little and helped her plan her escape. It was a man, it looks like. Okay, so here we've got the Page of Swords. Here's in the near future. So that feels like you'll hear more about this, and we might even hear from her on the subject later. She's gonna let us know, I feel like she might even write something, or like she has writing ability, certainly public speaking ability when you hear her speak. So I feel like she's brave and has a mission now to out this kind of thing. We've got the Star and the King of Wands. So I feel like the Alliance and the White Hat team are going to look out for her coming in the future. And it looked like they already had eyes on her. Okay, so that's a good thing. Wow. Okay, so my second question is brought to you by a digital soldier who is a frequent contributor to emails me with really good insights. So I thought this was a really good thing to ask here. Here's a quote from that digital soldier. Why are the white hats playing with their food? Okay, so what he means by that is it really does look like they've got it all on some real, very creepy people. Like, for instance, Fauci, they got lots of info on Fauci. They've got lots of info on this guy here, the guy, the Facebook guy. Okay, they've got so much that proves he's a traitor and treasonous. Fauci as well, like a murdering plotter, just so much on these guys. And they're not arresting them in public. Like, it's frustrating. So it's like they're playing with their food, so they keep outing this stuff, but not arresting them in public. So it's getting annoying. Okay, so there's 3 reasons put forward here for why. And I don't know if there'll be any one of those 3 or something altogether different, but I'll just lay out the 3. So we're looking for possibly storytelling purposes. That's why they're doing it. They're drawing out the story. Okay. Maybe hoping more people will notice what's going on. Timing of the movie or the theater. So that's one thing that might be going on. Or this might be the reason they're running into snags with the deep state, and possibly they're getting threats from the still functioning members, the few, I believe few, functioning members of the deep state that are left standing. Possibly those people are threatening, and this has happened before in the past. We've seen they've threatened like to use HARP, I think they still have some access somehow. And also they have access to things like maybe dirty bombs and stuff, okay? Or they have the wherewithal to make that kind of stuff, and they have the MK Ultra people to do it. Okay, so I feel like maybe that's those threats. So they're trying to mitigate those threats. And they're being very careful. So that would be the second reason, maybe. The third reason might be they're waiting for a natural event. And that natural event they might have spotted using Operation. Now, I added this part. This wasn't, the digital soldier didn't write this part. Using Operation Looking Glass. Maybe they saw ahead and saw a natural event and they want to run with it. So in the middle of or just at the beginning of the natural event. So a natural event like a huge flood, like a polar shift, although I got the polar shift already happened or sort of maybe is happening. Maybe it's something really big like a huge world event of some kind. And they want to utilize that world event to take down and do the big arrests. Possibly that's it. Okay, so let's have a look at, is it any of these three? And I got ways I can read the cards. If it's natural event, we'll probably see the Empress in there and some pentacle cards. You know, if it's the storytelling and movie timing thing, we're going to see maybe some of those movie cards we see. Yeah, I got ways I can figure this out. And if it's, running into snags, we'll see like deep state cards, the devil, the tower, stuff like that. Okay, so let's have a look. What is it? What is holding these big, public arrests up when we know they've got all the stuff on the guys, the people? It's not just guys, obviously, the humans. Or, well, some of them aren't human. Just have a look at that creepy guy that supposedly is the owner of Facebook. Is that a human? I don't think so. That is a lizard if I ever saw one. Okay, so we've got the Fool and the Three of Wands. The Fool is interesting because it's okay, that's in. Now we might have a fourth thing they're doing here. They need it to be unexpected. They need it to be unexpected. They've had a couple of different timelines they were going to put it on. They're watching for, okay, so this is a little different than any of those three. It looks like they're watching the public's interest in things and what they're looking at and how they're reacting to things out in the news, in the fake news, in the truther news. They're watching and looking at how we are operating. Okay, and here, this is interesting. We've got surrender. But now a side note, also, it looks like there's a physical event. So maybe an event they know is coming. That they can't do anything about. And I feel like they might even know the timing of that event. And they're going to go in line with that. So that's also affecting their timing. So it's not that they are waiting for an event. They don't know when it'll happen. They seem to know the timing of this, and they have to work around this event. Okay, so that's almost the timing. One is correct, but not necessarily just for the sake of theater. The timing is because they have to work with the spirit world and nature, okay, and a natural timing of things. And also, it feels like they're looking for this to be so surprising for everybody, because that'll be part of the shift. When we're met with huge transformational situations, it helps us quantum leap. Okay, this guy takes a quantum leap through surprises and ends up much more evolved, because he got him, walked right off a cliff, found out he could fly, kind of thing, found out he could. Yeah, so he tested his limits by just trusting, and walks right off a cliff. Like the fool is maybe is surprising everybody with what they do, but also surprises themselves. And there's an enlightenment that comes along with that kind of trust. So they're trusting that their timing, which looks like it's going alongside the universal events, right? So they know things, they know what's coming, and they know how it'll go down, and they're trusting that their timing is the best for. And there might be one or two different timelines they're kind of working with and playing with. It's the best for the most advancement in humanity, and will evolve through the experience. Okay, so they're keeping in mind all of those things. So it's almost all of those things. Wow, it's not one in particular. It's a very complex thing. All right, that is fascinating. Now we've got this helicopter crash. Okay, so the helicopter crash. What do we got? Helicopter. Yeah, there we go. So the fellow is an executive of a big company there. You see the company, Siemens. And this guy and his whole family, I believe, supposedly died in that crash. Okay, now there's a few interesting things. One of them is, when you look at the footage of it, when they're taking the helicopter out of the water later, the helicopter's all black and has white where the black is and black where the white is. Okay, so there's really interesting potential that they're giving us a George Floyd situation here. Could this be a psyop? Okay, who's fooling us here? Is this a deep state psyop? Is this a white hat psyop? What's going on? Because it seems to me there's a lot of contradicting stories out there about what happened here. Was this guy targeted? Why did they use this guy and his family? If it was a psyop, why did they use, it's fascinating. So we're going to look around just what the heck's going on here. And it's interesting that once again, first of all, it's a crash. So an airborne thing crashes. There's been a lot of those lately. And secondly, it's a big CEO's family gets killed. So that really does look suspicious. But thirdly, so it gets you, here's what I think. It gets you looking into, what was that guy doing? What did he just do? So there's lots of stories about that. What is he for or against? Okay, and who's actually orchestrated this, if it is a psyop, or is it actually real? What's going on here? So let's have a look all around that crash. Do share anything else you got on that, stories around that, because there's been so many things people have pointed out that are, right away. So secrets are afloat here. Okay, secrets are afloat, or they could have been secreted away. So whatever you're hearing in the news is probably not true. Ooh, do you think? Okay, yeah, interesting. So there's no death cards here. There's not even disaster cards or the Three of Swords. I would say this is a psyop. Absolutely. And they're wanting you to go down some rabbit holes because of it. So look into the company this guy was running, look into recent things that this guy said, look into, so this looks like a white hat, because that's where it comes from. And that's not the devil card. That's not the Hierophant card. Okay, or even the 7 of Cups, which would be from dysfunctional and shady characters type of things. Not even the King of Cups, which would be another shady potential, like that guy's hiding a lot of things and not to be trusted. Okay, I'm thinking that these guys were secreted away, so they must have needed to get out of Dodge here, and they took the whole family into hiding, is what it looks like, and it looks like it was White Hat. So there's a reason why they wanted you to look into this company, and they used this big psyop to do it. Something's going to come out, because this is in the near future, that is absolutely important, and maybe hasn't even surfaced yet. So I feel like this is part of the war, and it's some kind of, it could even be sending a message beyond what we're going to get out of it when we go down the rabbit holes. It could be sending a message to the bad guys. Okay, somehow it's sending a message to them, really clear message. And there's more things coming out around this that'll help us put the pieces together that aren't ready to be revealed yet, because that card says they're waiting on even more. Something will be sort of the smoking gun around why they might have did this psyop. Okay, so just keep an eye on this story. So that family, according to my cards, did not go down in a helicopter. And actually, the more you look at the news reports about it, this BS-ier and psyop-ier it gets. Okay. Let's look at digital IDs. So a lot of people are talking about it. People are saying it's already happening in some countries. China already has it. I want to look at, is this something we got to be leery of? We already in airports, you are getting scanned your face. You're like, if I go to the US, like when I went on the Truther tour, I didn't have to show my passport. It was all digital. I had to look in a camera. Okay, so obviously they've already scanned all of our faces, that stuff's. What I want to know is this technology going to be used, because it's already being used, to our demise as humanity and taking more and more rights away? Or are they actually going to use it for the good going forward? Like, is this something we all need to absolutely worry about? I mean, I would definitely not comply to it if there was a way I could say no to it myself, just because it feels too invasive, but it seems to be already in play everywhere. Okay. So, let's hope that it gets used going forward with good intentions by the White Hat Alliance. If in fact there is that sock, as is nicknamed by Cliff High, going forward, if that group really does exist, which I believe does. Okay, but not everybody does believe that group exists, but I believe they do. The cards seem to think they do too. Okay, but I'm wondering, is this something we have to deeply concern ourselves with? Is this going to be a further erosion of our rights, or will it actually be spun somehow in the future to work to our benefit? Okay, let's have a look, because I can see some benefits to knowing who's where, obviously, especially if you're somebody who's been perpetrating evil in the world, but at the same time, it does take a lot of rights and privacy away from all the rest of us. Okay, let's have a look. That's a really unique card that says something's going on. Okay, so this is a big part of what the war, they've been fighting in the war. So the war that the deep state is fighting against, and the white, big part of the fighting. They're fighting for the right to use the technology that already exists. Okay, so not to have it not be used against humanity. So that's an ongoing fight that's happening, and we've got the Judgment card. It's really important that everybody notices and becomes aware and isn't just compliant to it and pipes up about their awareness. I feel like we're going to get more fear porn around it, and it looks worse before it gets better. Remember that road trip I always talk about? You guys all would have heard this story by now a million times, so I won't repeat it. But the road trip, I won't repeat it. but the road trip, the signs got worse and worse, but the roads got better and better. I think that's what that's saying, because this card says unnecessary worry. There's going to be more concern about it before it all gets turned around. It looks like, so this comes first, it's going to be used in the future for the benefit of humanity. It'll be karmically adjusted to be a tool used for the good, but not, it's not going to take away more rights, but it'll first look like it is. So watch for that in the coming days and weeks. I already feel like you're really hyping up the news about it. And it does look really scary. So you're going to see a lot of scary news reports, but I feel like even by August, you'll see where they're going to how they're going to actually use it for the good of humanity, not for our demise. Okay, because she is sovereign and available to be her true self. So I feel like we'll be able to work with this technology for the good. Not sure how, because this card says it's going to be in a really unique way, spun in a good way. But we won't really see it at first. For the next little while, it's just going to ramp up looking scary. Okay, so keep that in mind when you hear all the scary news reports. And of course, if you get a chance to weigh in, say, absolutely, you don't want any more rights taken away than you already have. Like, don't just comply to stuff, right? We have to speak up about what we're not okay with. Okay, so I got one more. And this is crazy. Like, there's a huge statue, 90 foot tall. I don't even know if this is true. Okay, what I want people to do, weigh in from Texas. Are you from, where is it called? Sugarland, was it? I think it was Sugarland, Texas, supposedly. There's a Hindu statue. So it's a Hindu god, Hanuman. Okay, so I don't even know what that god stands for, but somebody maybe let us in on it. Also, there's a squirrel right next to this. So this great big golden statue, 90 foot tall, residing over Texas. What on earth is going on? Okay. And it doesn't even look like it's a human. Like when you look at this energy, it's a creature of some kind. Okay. So somebody who knows more about that god, what they're calling a god, a Hindu god, let us know. Okay, because what does that stand for? Okay, and what on earth is it doing in Texas? Okay, all over the world, we're seeing all of this big trend, and it looks like, to me, it looks like a big psyop for everybody to wake up to what's happening, like away from, like in these really traditionally Christian places like the UK or whatever. Now so many people moved in there that Islam is bigger than Christianity, and they're taking over the neighborhoods, the streets, the churches are gone, the mosques are, like, this is an agenda, obviously, and we'll get into that Islam one another time because that's very involved, and I want Jean-Claude to help me with that, unpack that. But I just thought, let's take a glance at what on earth are they doing, putting up a 90-foot statue of a Hindu god in Texas. Okay, what's going on? Who are they nodding this to? What are they trying to wake people up that, this could happen anywhere, like where your places, you're basically getting overrun and overtaken by different cultures and hey, by the way, that happened to the indigenous peoples here. But okay, and here, that's another thing. So if it existed that there was these other cultures before sort of what we thought were the first white people to come to North America, okay, where did all those old buildings, Tartaria buildings, it appears, what was that group, and why don't we hear about that? So we just hear that it was all plains all across Canada and then into British Columbia. It started to get more coastal indigenous people, but they were all just tribal, and there was no cities or towns. And then, but all of a sudden, now we're hearing that there could have been already lots of places built up by Tartarians. I'm so confused. Like, I don't know about you guys. So that's a whole nother many shows. We're going to have to unpack all of this. Like, Or stories about what was happening with Indigenous people and the first white contact. Is that even true? Like, what was really happening? So if Tartarians were here and those old buildings were here, that changes that history too. Like, I'm so confused. Like, I don't know about you guys, but we got so much to learn in the coming years. But we're going to start by asking that question about this statue. Why did they put that there? Who put it there? That looks like a psyop to me. That looks like the white hats having a little fun, going, this could happen to you in your town. And it's happening all over the world in different ways, where just things are being dropped on places that make no sense. Okay, so if somebody can make sense of that, please let me know in the comments, because I'm not seeing any sense in it. Okay, so we've got the Four of Pentacles, another thing where we don't get to know yet. So that's resistance to know something or hanging on to something. Now we've got the Four of Wands. None of this looks like it's not true. I'm getting that it's probably a true story. So like, honestly, I thought somebody just made that up. So let me know if you're from Sugar Land, Texas. Is this, who okayed this? Who on earth said it was okay to put that up? Like, what? Okay, I'm so confused. Is a huge part of the population Hindu? That could well be. That is certainly the case in, for instance, around Vancouver. Outskirts of Vancouver, all the outer lying cities and towns, huge population of Indians from India. Yeah, you bet. And so maybe that's what they're, like they decided that was a cool thing to do. Let me know what's going on in Sugar Land, Texas, okay? Okay, so now we got the Magician. Okay. I really do feel like it's to get people to wake up politically to what's going on. Okay, so it's like a wake-up call to politically look at what's going on. You are being invaded. Okay. And it could even be there's a tiny bit of humor to it, like putting up a statue that big, fourth biggest in all of the US, supposedly. So according to these cards, it's real. So again, let me know if you're from Sugar Land, Texas. I really want to know. Let us know in the comments right away if you've seen this thing and who okayed it. Okay, so to me, it looks like it's part of the theater. This is a political card. That's theater, political theater. That's who done it here. They put it up to go, hello, this could happen to you. This could happen anywhere. If it can happen in Texas, it can happen anywhere. So thank you so much, everybody, for watching my video, and do take care. Okay, what do we got? So we've got the Devil. So I would say absolutely there's bioweapons. So a big old yes on bioweapons are being created. Absolutely. So there must still be, oh, isn't that interesting? Okay, so Trump white hat got their eye on it. Okay, so we've got the 10 in the middle. So that's interesting. I feel like we're really nearing the end, but there's still some that these guys have to clean up. So they've got their eye on it. They started cleaning it up. It's not all the way cleaned up. So that guy's information may well be correct to the extent that, yes, they're still creating these. There's still some out there. Absolutely. Where does it go? Okay, with the amount of truth coming out about it, okay, it makes it a lot harder to fool the public. Okay, so the outcome looks like in the next year, even in the next 4 months, which might bring us, what is that, July? What are we? We're almost at, well, we're April, so May, June, July, August. Okay, so by August, I feel like there's enough truth out there about this stuff that they won't be able to fool people. But there's still bioweapons and places that they're creating them. Yes, there is. It's coming to an end, and the end is being sort of directed, okay, by the White Hat Alliance. So yes, it's true, but we're near the end of it. Tens are endings. This is the near future. With the amount of truth within 4 months even, And this could even be our August card because this is the 8th month. With the amount of truth out there, I don't think anybody's going to buy into I feel like it's not going to be an issue. Looking at these cards within 4 months, these guys look like they got even this part handled, if that makes any sense. But technically, yes, there's still bioweapons out there. They haven't cleaned it all up. You bet. Okay. So what else do we have here? The April 20th date. So there's a lot of information going on, like my roommate who absolutely despises Trump and sees all the liberal info on him. Okay. There's lots of things circulating. So the extreme left circulates all kinds of things about Trump's going to call a big shutdown and military rule on the 20th. Okay, so that's their fear is that he's basically like going to shut down the U.S. and it won't be for anybody's good, right? So he's basically going to declare martial law. A lot of truthers believe he's going to declare martial law, and there's reasons for that. There's all kinds of reasons. He's been talking about the 20th right at the beginning of this latest presidency. I believe he's been in charge all along for the last 3 sessions here. It was already determined that April 20th was a really big date. Okay. And it does look like that is a potential that martial law could be called. This sort of audience might see it differently than, say, far left. Okay. But the fears going on and coming out from lots of different directions about the April 20th date and the martial law. Some of us might see it as, okay, this is a good thing. Martial law could mean the days of darkness and information coming out for everybody. That would be the first thought I would have when I hear martial law. That sounds like the EBS starts. That sounds good to me. Okay, but people not watching channels like this are going to see it as the tyrant Nazi Trump doing this. Okay, so yeah, it's unfortunate. Okay, because it just makes them look bad again. Okay, let's have a look. So let's look at the date and just see what we can get. So April 20th this year. So coming right up. Oh boy. So we've got a yes card and we've got a 10. So that's interesting. 10 ends something. Something ends. We've got the devil. Now we've got Trump in the white hat. So I feel like something will go down or some kind of an awareness will be out there on April 20th. Something's going to go down on April 20th. 7 and 10, ending an illusion. So more the end of an illusion. So something very specific goes down. So that date's really specific. I'm not sure about martial law. I did ask about martial law, and that is an ace. Aces are yeses. So it feels like a yes. But then we've got this 10. So the 10 ends. I wonder if it ends the martial law that's actually been going on already in the background. I mean, a lot of people think we're in martial law, and we have been. Don't forget that the military's been running the U.S. for a really long time. Since the 2020 election was stolen, and we even saw videos where military personnel came out and said, we're in charge and this is going to be a peaceful transition. Okay, that's been going on for years. And a lot of people say that actually we've been in martial law for years. Maybe it actually ends, because that's an ending card, instead of begins. So instead of it beginning and locking down, it actually ends. And interesting, because these are 2 ending cards. So martial law ends and something else begins. Wow. And the something else feels like it's a lot better for humanity here. So it's different. Something does go down on April 20th. I think it's more of an ending than a beginning. And it feels like it changes things a lot and allows the team to do things differently. So the Trump White Hat team, and don't forget, I believe Trump's a brand. Okay. So I feel like the team Trump here, there, it allows them to do things differently than they've been doing. And it flips things around and allows us to see the unique situation we're in, gets us closer to truth coming out and also to more abundance for humanity because she's abundant. And this is how the humans end up when this happens. So it brings us closer to a better world and more truth in the world. Whoa. Okay, those were really big cards there, and that is fascinating. So it doesn't, martial law is already happening. We're already, and it'll transition into Trump team hands more directly. So that is fascinating. Okay. Wow. So if anyone thinks they know more about that and could explain that a little better in the comments, do please do that because I'm not sure how that all works, right? That's why it's fun to be on live shows with Jean-Claude because he would probably know more about that. But anyway, I'll leave that up to you guys to figure out what I'm talking about. Tarot card readings are interesting that way. It's like the universe speaks differently than it's not as literal like as we think. Anyway, okay, let's have a look. Secretary of Commerce Howard Lutnick. Okay, only person to not show up in his company. So at the time of 9/11, he ran a company and it occupied the top 3 floors of the Trade Center. He was the only one in his company to not show up, and for the first time in his entire life, apparently, he drove his kids to school that day. Fascinating. Okay, and he wasn't at work on 9/11. Now he's constantly seen in the Trump team, in the photo ops, and standing right behind Trump, by the way. Okay, interesting. And don't forget, Trump often puts forward his enemies. Okay, he's been seen with the Pope. He's been seen with, and like he puts forward people that they're going to out. Okay, so that's interesting. So this guy clearly knew about 9/11 was going to happen. Like I'm not even going to ask that. Clearly. So what I want to know is this guy that's showing up in the Trump team and appears to know Trump really well enough to be in lots of photo ops and be right behind him in procedures going on, officialdom procedure. It's fascinating. One time Trump even called him out by name and said, yeah, he survived 9/11. And he kind of outed that he was the only one in his company to survive 9/11. And the guy laughed, just like you see him laughing here. And I don't know if that's exactly when he called him out in this photo. I'm not sure. But that was what he looked like when he was laughing about it. So what on earth is going on? It feels to me like Trump's outing him and getting you to look down the rabbit holes about 9/11. Is that the case? Okay, so is that why Trump has this guy around? Is that even really him? I'd like to know if that's him. First of all, let's see if that's him. And then we'll see why is he in all those photo ops with Trump and right behind Trump. And why did Trump call him out like that? That'll be number 2 question about it. What? That's a capitulated him. So this seems to be answering both questions. That's a capitulated him. He's been capitulated. Okay, so that interesting. Surrender to. It's not really saying whether it's him or not, but it's his brand. So they're using the guy's brand. I feel like he was rounded up. Yeah, this seems to answer whether that's him or not. I don't think it's literally him. It's a brand, and he's capitulated. Let's say that. Yeah, you get a lot of info in this one. Yeah, that's actually a younger version of him. So a look-alike guy. That's a look-alike guy. Maybe he's even wearing a mask that looks like him, but it's actually a younger guy. That guy capitulated, and yeah, he's surrendered. In fact, he's probably, I don't think he's all the way processed. And when I say processed, for you new people out there, I mean Git mode. Like he's been taken to Gitmo, had his treasonous tribunal. I believe that's been going on for years. Okay, so that's what I've been getting for years, that those are real, that all the rumors about tribunals, real raw news is telling you real stories. They don't always get the dates right. They purposely say different dates. And some of their descriptions are probably exaggerated. Okay, but they are in fact telling you details about these people that have been Gitmo'd. Okay, yeah, and then we'll get to more about Gitmo later, right? Okay, so fascinating. It's absolutely a capitulated person playing this guy, and they're absolutely outing, and they want you to look up who this guy is. Okay, because as information comes out, and it's nonstop. If you're on Telegram and or X, you are seeing so much truth. It's unbelievable. Anyway, nonstop stuff about if somebody's not seeing what really went on 9/11 and they still think it was the official story, okay, they're honestly really, really living under a rock, or not that bright. Okay, it's so obvious. Like I knew that before I was ever any of this red pilling. It just doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out what happened in 9/11 was total BS. How they presented it was just BS. Okay, so let's look at let's see, Jim Willie's info on Gitmo. So here's the Gitmo stuff. Now I shared this video. Jim Willie does a video. I forget who there it is. Yeah, that one. I shared that video, and I pinned it to the community page, so you guys can go there if you haven't seen it already. It's a little hard to watch, a lot of people are saying, because Jim Willie's a little all over the place. He's kind of excitable. I don't know, like he might have ADHD or something. But anyway, he does bring some good intel. Okay, and in this particular video, he actually says that a good friend of his, sounds like he trusts, told him that friend's company was hired to develop floors, many floors, like something like 14 floors below. So Gitmo's been built, and it's been built downward. Okay, so they've gone downward. They didn't go outward because it's like you can't see from global Earth that it's expanded, but it's expanded downward. Okay, so Gitmo's been developed, and that there's even like waiting rooms for people if they were visiting prisoners. And yeah, apparently it's you got to go watch the video if you haven't already. It's a lot of great descriptions about how they develop these floors and what's on the floors. Okay, and Jim Willie also nods to tribunals coming, as if they haven't started yet. And maybe he just doesn't have the intel that the universe has been given us, because I believe they started years ago. Okay, so what I'm going to ask is, Jim Willie's friend who gave him the information, is it true that Gitmo's developed many floors downward, and in the last, I don't know, I guess it'd be 7 years. Let's say that. Is that true? Let's have a look. Because I mean, it takes a long time to develop stuff like that. They've probably been working on it for years. Wow. Okay. The tower is like upheaval and renovation. Whenever you're renovating a house or even moving or, like changing things in your house, this card will come up. So that says yes right there to me. Okay. And 10. So, but they're keeping it all under wraps. Well, the way they're keeping it under wraps is it's going under. That's how they're doing, because this is the facade maybe hasn't changed, but huge upheaval. Okay, so that would make sense that yes, they are. The Empress, so they're putting a lot of money into it, it looks like. And this is interesting because this is what the public sees. They don't see it. They see it still as maybe the humble place. Like when you see pictures of it, it does look kind of humble, like it couldn't really house high-end, like high-profile prisoners, have these big tribunals. Like it just doesn't look like a place that would be that much of a facility. Okay, and I feel like they want that. They want it to appear a certain way, but it's hugely being, and it could even still be in renos here with that card. Okay, they could still be developing things. And now we've got a 10. Yeah, they're not even done yet. This feels like it's going on here, possibly for the last 6 years as well. I feel like they've been working on it for 6 years, and it'll go on for another few years. It could be altogether 10 years worth of. So this is going to go on for a long time. Now, I'm going to pull 2 more on tribunals. Okay, we're just looking around. Okay, I feel like they already started. Tribunals already started. Yeah, and the star card. So what they used and what they're using is other like dimensional and or more advanced technology. So their tribunals the information is based on things they gathered with advanced technology. And I was also getting that for years, for years, the Alliance is alongside the White Hat. The White Hat's the more human side of it. The Alliance feels like time travelers and maybe even off-worlders, good ones, and other dimensionals, and maybe even more advanced human species like us advanced, and then we came back to help ourselves. That's what I've been getting the alliances. Okay, so I feel like they gathered information and they used that. They've got everything on these people, what they've done, and that's why they could start the tribunals early. Okay, so it's fascinating, and I just want to note all of this stuff going on in the U.S., and they're saying, oh, they're bringing this lawsuit, and they're shutting down, Doge is shutting this down, and they've got this. Okay, none of that could have happened just since Trump took over. That's been going on for years. The amount of stuff in the courts, obviously this stuff, like all of that takes time, months and months and months and years even. And already there's all these lawsuits going through and the all these things, real official things. All of those things take months and years. Okay, so they've been working on this stuff since probably 2017 anyway, maybe sooner. Okay, so a lot of the things you see that you think are just happening since Trump, took office again, okay, no, it's been going on for years. It's so obvious. Just look into, all of the things they're uncovering. That stuff would have taken years and years and years. And I believe they used advanced technology to understand and watch what all of these guys have been doing, and then advanced technology to round them up and tribunal them. Anyway, so yeah, that information is correct, what Jim Willie said. Wow. Okay. Now this one's really interesting. We're going to end on this one. Is a pole shift event leading to a possible water solar event, like watch the water? Okay, so I'm not reading it exactly to the person's question. In the next year. Okay, so the pole shift, could the pole shift? Because I got that when we look at the pole shift, possibly it's why Trump wanted to hammer down Greenland and utilize it, and also Canada and Mexico, and why land masses are likely going to change. Because if a pole shift happens, maybe they have the heads up how things will shift and change with these, and they're getting like already prepared for a big natural event like that. White Hat Alliance knows about it. They probably use Project Looking Glass to see it ahead of time, and it'll change everything, and they've got to get prepared because there's way more going on than we know. Okay, and I've got for a long time that there's a natural events and or an event in particular that'll bring everybody on board, and they'll all see what we see. Okay, and they'll also see, yeah, it all of a sudden creates, so some kind of event is going to create everybody, even the far lefties and what we call normies, to get on board with, okay, let's stop bickering about this and that, and come together as a humanity, because we got way bigger fish to fry. Okay, so I feel like maybe this pole shift is it. And by the way, I watched the movie Survive, and it was absolutely kind of nodding to that. So this movie here, and I think it's on Netflix. I think I watched it on Netflix. If not, try Prime Video. But I think I watched it on Netflix, and it's incredible. Like, actually, the movie's pretty interesting, kind of brutal. But it is, this family is on a trip on a boat, a sailboat. It's a whole family. And the pole shift happens, and they've sort of vaguely heard about it, but didn't really take it too seriously. They thought it was a conspiracy theory. And it takes all the water out of the ocean in an overnight, what appears to be a storm, and moves it to land masses. And then that only lasts maybe, 6 days or something, 5 days. I can't really tell how, as the movie's paced, but some days, but not very long. And then they expect the water to come back, rushing back. So the water gets moved from the oceans, and these guys get left high and dry. Their boat and everything, and they're on the bottom of the ocean. And then, of course, there's lots of creatures, that they have to fight, and even a really bad human they have to fight. But anyway, fascinating, kind of interesting movie, but it does nod to a water event, because of course, if the poles shift, okay, and you'll have to look up what would happen if the poles shifted. I feel like a lot of it's just, they don't know exactly what would happen, but it would make sense that it would move water bodies around. Anyway, so is that going to happen in the next year, a pole shift that actually affects the water bodies? That's my question. Okay. Magician, interesting. Magician is theater. So yes, pole shift already happened. Okay, I think I've got that before. A pole shift already happened. Wow. And it didn't create the water situation. So magician, so it's part of the theater to say that that'll happen. So that movie looks like it was that, just a movie. I don't think it'll happen just like that. Okay, because the whole idea of the pole shift, the way they're saying it, and all the stories about what could happen, I feel like the Earth isn't exactly how. So in a pole shift, you'd have to believe that the Earth was a round ball and it spins in space and then goes around the sun in its orbit. Okay, you'd have to believe that, hook, line, and sinker. And I feel like there's some parts missing here. First of all, there's I'm not a flat earther or anything, but I'm definitely leaning towards a torus. Is that what it's called? Anyway, a donut-shaped energy field that we call Earth. And I feel like there's a lot more land mass we could be on one flat part of, and there could be huge ice walls that we're not allowed to go to that lead to other whole land masses that we don't even know about. And they could even be called things like Mars. That could even be where all these names of planets came from. Okay, so Sarge talks about this. I'm leaning more towards that in the way the cards seem to move. Like certainly there's more landmass that we're not told about. Okay, so the whole pole shift is based on you got a round planet, a ball, and then it does this flip where the North Pole becomes the South Pole becomes the North. Okay, and that would flip the water around. And I don't even know how that would work. And I feel like something already happened that could be considered the pole shift. Okay, but because the Earth maybe isn't exactly how we've been told it is, I feel like we won't be going through something like that movie shows. So check out the movie. Okay, and if you don't have time to check out the movie, what I'm saying is we won't see that all the ocean water gets moved. We're not going to see an event like the person's asking. They're asking, will we see? I don't think we will. I think something good happens. We've got this even in the next 4 months, there could be a water event, but it's to the advantage of humanity. I'm not sure what I mean by that. Okay, so I'd say no to the question, and it's going to be a lot different than what we think. We're moving out of troubled waters past what people thought was going to be the pole shift. That's already happened somehow. Some version of a pole shift already happened. And as we move forward, things are getting better, not worse. So the movie depicts a really bad situation. And I feel like we will have some events going forward, but I feel like in the big picture, we're going to a better Earth and not a devastated Earth. So I'm going to stick with that. I'm going to stick with that vision because that'll help it create itself. Okay, everybody. Thank you so much. People are so interested because so many things have come out. I can't even believe this much stuff comes out on these politicians and they don't literally get put in jail. Like it's unbelievable to me that, the Biden family, the fake Biden family, but I mean that they don't publicly get thrown in jail. I mean, it makes no sense. So to me, that tells me, that is a clue that we are literally watching a movie. Because if this was real and reality and what things used to be like, I don't think these guys would still be, standing in office or would have stood in office like what it appeared Biden did for the last 4 years. I just can't fathom that it can't be a movie. You know what I'm saying? It absolutely has to be. Okay, so let's have a look. So here's Mark Carney. We've got the Wheel of Fortune. So everything you think you know about him and what you believe about him is probably the opposite, or what they say anyway. Not this community. We know the truth likely, but a lot of people out there are going to be really surprised at what really happens. It looks like I feel like something's going to come and take this guy. He might even be the first arrest, or he could publicly get arrested. Okay, that I would be so happy to see that. So here's the 28th here, or soon after maybe. And it could have something to do with children. So that's interesting. Okay, so we've got the Queen of Wands and the Strength card. So the woo community has a big boost here around April 28th. They're around in and around that time. It might not be right on the day. Cards aren't specific. Usually in timing, they're not as specific as we'd like them to be. So I'm not saying right on the day, but I feel like it's heading, let's just say it, Carney and the information around him, Mark Carney, is heading in the direction of him being outed publicly and maybe even arrested publicly, which would be brilliant because that's a justice card. Okay, and that's in the public eye and how they see it. And it might have something to do with children even and really dysfunctional things around how he treats them but also around money situations. Remember, I was saying that the Sun card could also talk about money systems. So maybe they'll get him on financial. The way he basically ruined the EU financially. That might be it. Okay, but I feel like it'll be both, or maybe slant more towards children. To me, the children thing would be a way bigger problem. All of these politicians steal money, and they've been getting away with doing that, for forever. Whoops. I'm noticing I'm about to lose my earring. I don't want you guys to stress about that. Watching me as it falls. Okay, so see the past here? We've got the 4. So whatever it is that does take this guy out, and I don't think he'll last. If he does go all the way to the election, he's not going too much past it, or he might not even make it right up to the election. So I'm thinking like we're in a time period when we could see this guy get taken out on the public stage. Okay, but it's all for crimes that have been hidden. And the money crimes aren't that hidden. So I'm leaning more towards the child crimes, Wow. Okay. So I don't think we're going to have to actually, if this guy even does get in a fake election, because it would all be fake, you guys, and it would all be rigged, but it would all be part of the show. I don't think he'll last long, whether he actually goes past the 28th. And according to those cards, right on the day or right around the day, somehow really close to those times, he's going to get publicly outed. Okay, well, he has been publicly outed, okay, but maybe not in mainstream media. It's more like what we're seeing in this community. Let's look at this Jeffrey Wan's prediction. So this guy, he predicts, and a lot of people are talking about it and sending me his videos and stuff. Apparently, he's predicting that there's going to be a big earthquake in New York this summer. Okay, and we've heard this a lot. We've heard all kinds of predictions about this, but people really are getting worried, and I don't blame them, especially if they live in this area. So let's have a look at, is his prediction true? A big earthquake this summer in New York. And I think he means the city, but correct me if I'm wrong out there, guys. Does he mean New York State? Of course, wherever it is in New York, it's going to be a big problem for a lot of people. Let's have a look, because I know New York City, that would really, like if it was centered around that would cause huge damage. But anywhere it happened in New York would cause big damage. Oh boy, we got those two again. And we got the Queen of Wands, the 7, the Sun, Wheel of Fortune. Wow, okay. Got a lot of the same cards here. But when you think about it, a lot of what's been going on all interconnects, okay? So because we're watching theater and a movie, it all interconnects. And this is interesting because I don't really get it, Will. This is a fear porn card, and that's what this guy's part of the fear porn. I feel like he's he was told to put fear porn out there. Okay, so while maybe some big arrests are going on, they're going to put a lot of fear porn out around natural events like that in New York. Like it somehow coincides with a lot of things going on. Looks like arresting big names. Coincides with the timing that this guy says earthquakes or an earthquake. And I wonder if earthquake is code word for, in the theater of everything, code word for, wow, people will be shocked at what goes down. So I don't think it's literally an earthquake. I feel like it's more finally some things manifest. We've been waiting to manifest around arrests and some justice. Maybe not all of what we want to see there, but I think we might see the start of it anyway. And like a lot of things are going to be going on that'll feel like earth moving, but I don't think it'll technically be an earthquake. Wow. Okay. Yeah, I think they're using code words sometimes here, hey? And so that person must be maybe some placed info, like, yeah, I feel like these people get used a lot. There's a lot of those guys out there in, publicly being used for disinformation, sent information. They circulate it because they got big viewing audiences, something like that. Yeah, maybe they're even like somewhat in on the plot of this movie we're watching. Okay, so microplastics in food, and it's apparently everywhere. So we've been hearing a lot about these microplastics, tiny, tiny, tiny beads of plastic getting in our food chain, in our waters. Wildlife is ingesting them. Like we're eating that wildlife, fish is ingesting it. Like it's just gone off the charts, apparently. And we're ingesting it every which way, humans. So what we're asking is, first of all, is this something that's going to take down humanity? How bad of an issue is this? Okay, can our bodies not break this stuff down? Like, what does the universe want to tell us about this? Okay, because there's a whole lot of fear porn out there about it. And I'm not saying it isn't true. I'm just saying, what does the universe want to say about this? Because it feels like it's already like well on its way to taking down the human race if some other things don't before that. Like it's like, whoa, right? If we believed all of that's circulating, well, like we're going to be pretty depressed, right? Let's have a look. So we've got the world there. So this is interesting. I just want you to know this is what publicly is thought and known about it. So there's a lot of very damaging looking info. So it looks really bad on paper and in writing because swords are thoughts and words and what's being talked about. Now we've got the world and the 8 of Wands. So that's really interesting. That looks like we're safe somehow because of something that's coming. So something that's fast approaching will keep us safe from this as a devastating way that humanity might be taken down, okay, and wildlife and nature. I feel like whatever's going on, a change is coming. A change is fast coming that takes us out of this as a fear. So the fear porn going on, and I don't think it's porn even, I think it's real. I think really there is trouble with the microplastics. None of this looks like facades, like the card isn't the 7 of Swords, which would be they're telling us that, but it's not even true. Yeah, I think there really is that issue, but something is coming that keeps us safe or takes us off the takes this off as a big problem. Like it somehow takes away the problem. Something is coming. There's going to be a way, and it comes through information. So that's interesting because that's an information card. So maybe they have a way they can could even be, and I get frequency related, could be a frequency. They have a way to get these microplastics out of your system. There's a big get it out of your system kind of card here. 2 of Wands. I feel like it'll be shared with people. Things are already known that could take you out of the situation that could be harmful. So I feel like it's saying we're going to have ways that this gets dissipated and taken off, I guess the list of things that could kill humanity. It's going to be taken off the list. And it comes through information sharing. And there might even be a regime we have to do, looking at those cards. We might have to do something. Okay, but the information on how to eliminate it from our systems is going to be shared with us. So, wow. And it's already known, it looks like, looking at these cards here. So, yeah, that's good to know. So when you do hear about that, and I feel like that's coming, could even be in the next year, with an ace like that. It could even be in the next year that we know about, how to reverse it. I feel like do the thing. It'll be it might take some work on your part. Okay. We'll have to cooperate somehow, but do the thing, because you could clear it out of your system. Wow. Okay. That's interesting. I think there's so much out there that we're going to find out how we can reverse the effects of, or I have a feeling with the age of Aquarius, we're going to find out so many things we can dissipate the damage of. I really do. I got a good feeling about that. What we'll have to do, maybe it could even be spiritual, more just deciding, intending, and visualizing. I don't know, because that ace, right? The ace is using your mind, or at least it's something that comes through communication. It's communicated to us, and we'll have to put some, legwork to it, it looks like. Okay, let's look at the fourth question, which is Angela Merkel Adolf Hitler's daughter? Okay, I think I looked at this years ago when I just first got together with Jean-Claude. And if I remember correctly, it was a quick look. It wasn't that clear. It was a yes, but maybe not natural daughter. But with all the new, in other words, maybe they took his DNA. Let's see if the cards want to be any clearer about that, or what the cards want to say about Angela Merkel and Adolf Hitler, with all of the new info coming out, all of the files released, okay, the after World War II, what really happened to all those Nazis, etc., all of those scientists, and it turns out a whole lot of, people that we are now finding out are likely cabal related, okay, yeah. Maybe Nazi equals Khazarian mafia. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, but we're going to deep dive on that. Coco and I, we just decided we're going to deep dive on that soon here. So, yeah, just wait for that. But let's have a look. Angela Merkel and Adolf Hitler. So we're going to put her here, Adolf Hitler here. And how are they related if they are? Goes down the middle. That's her. And that's him. I feel like technology. So a soft yes in the middle. So it's similar to what I got there. Technology put these two together. So she was willed into, so that's a desire. So people created that to be the case. So I don't think it was he was with a woman and he created a child, not in the natural way, but I do think it was willed into, they were willed into being, or she was willed into being, and they used other world technology to do it. In other words, a technology possibly isn't something that we have access to as humans. Okay, it could be off-world even, and don't forget there's all kinds of off-worlders. There's good ones and bad ones, other dimensionals and off-worlders. Okay, so two cards indicating technology that we don't have access to. Okay, so that's interesting. And we've got the devil here, so that shades this in a negative way. So there's future selves that are of the bad kind. But there's also the alliance. But this is badly aspected, otherworldly and or future selves who are working for the negative. So we've got bad ones and good ones. Aliens that are both, and or otherworldly or other dimensionals that are good and bad. Okay, these are of the bad variety. They created her. So I don't think she was created naturally or in a womb or anything. I think it was they created her because they desired to create her, but she didn't physically birth from a womb. So that's interesting. And I feel like it'll take some time. Eventually that'll be released information. This card says we won't know it for a while, but certainly at any moment that there's some kind of written, There's some kind of evidence about it. It's just not known to the general population, obviously. But at any moment, somebody could release that, looking at that card. So yeah, they created Angela Merkel. She was, I feel like, yeah, created. I don't even think, in a human, like maybe in a fake womb type, machine type, because it's other than what we're using. It's beyond our comprehension how they created. But yes, they used the DNA of, Adolf Hitler. So wow, okay. Bees. Okay, we're going to look at bees. Now, a lot of people are talking about, there's lots of information been circulating for years that bees are dying off. And of course, that's very scary because that would mean, things don't get pollinated and flowers die off, plants die off, trees. Like it's really, really scary. Like if bees die, okay, it is, well, first of all, I love honey. Now, I haven't seen a decrease in honey or a huge spike in honey prices, although they've been going up like everything has. But I haven't personally seen the evidence of huge bee die-offs, but if you're in an area and you personally see that, please let us know in the comments, okay? I just don't personally see that, or I'm not personally affected, but that doesn't mean it's not true, of course, right? I just want you to tell us your experience around that. If you know something, if you happen to be a beekeeper and you did your whole bee population died off or something like that, tell us what you know about that if you're real firsthand information on it, okay? So we're going to look at, first of all, what does the universe say about bees dying off? Like, is that going to continue? Is it even true? Like, what's going on with that? And then we're going to look at maybe secondary question of what might that mean in the future if that's the case. Let's have a look. Wow. Okay, this kind of answers everything all at once. Okay, so see that Hanged Man card? So putting something in a difficult position to understand. I feel like I'm feeling manipulation around the stories about the bee die-off. I'm feeling like they might have stopped what was causing the bees to die off, or somebody stopped it already. Could even be alliance, otherworldly, and or technology, advanced technology has already or has the means to stop whatever it is that's causing these bees to die. Okay, and just a few ideas about what it could be. I mean, weather manipulation, frequencies that are put out there to change weather, like so many things. It could be so many things. Huge factories putting out different frequencies, like so many things that they're doing and have been doing. Fluoridation in water, like so many things could be causing it. We don't know exactly what it is, so many things. And I feel like they allowed us, or they're really getting us to have a good look at that. They being maybe I think the powers of good here, because we needed to know, because this is where it's coming from, and this is not badly aspected here. So I feel like the powers that be needed us to know that's a possibility. And some of the things we were doing could kill off the bees, or even started to. Okay, but that looks like it's been stopped. But then it's kept secret that it was stopped. So they stopped the bee die off. That's what I'm just reading the cards. I'm going to say that. And people are just hearing about it like in the last 10 years. I don't know about you guys, but I've been hearing about it for about 10 years steady. If you heard about it 20 years ago, let me know in the comments. I only maybe started hearing about it 10 years ago. But certainly we've been hearing about it. Alarm bells have been ringing about it. But I feel like they actually got a grip on it. Okay. And you might see, and it'll depend on, there's certain areas that might still have a lot of bees and other areas that don't. So it's intermittent where they are and certainly how it looks. Okay, so that's how it does look in the public eye. And people are just starting to, but they're kind of fickle. So they hear about it, they get sad about it, they get excited about it, mad about it, but then they forget all about it. So there's fickle energy around it. I feel like it's now being, so they haven't let us in on the fact that they've stopped the bee die off, but they're keeping it a secret because they need us, to realize certain things have to stop. Okay, so certain things have to stop. And while we learn who our enemy is and what they're doing to us, it's to the advantage, it looks like, of the alliance. Because that's the alliance card. It's to their advantage to have people worry about this, okay, because it helps them understand some things have been done to humanity. And eventually, when we know exactly who, of course, this communities, we've got a pretty good idea who's doing it, okay, but they need everybody to know who does stuff like that. Who would have it to their advantage to kill off the bee population? Okay, it would be this group that wants 80% humans to die, of course. Okay, so they don't care about the earth or humans. They want to live underground in their underground cities. You know what I mean? Okay, so see this card here? I think we can regenerate. So I feel like some bees have died off, but it's actually getting better. They stopped the actual thing that was killing them off. So whatever that was, I think it was a frequency. I'm feeling it was a frequency. They stopped it, whatever it was. And I feel like it'll take years, maybe another 5 years, to bring up the population again to where it needs to be. But I feel like we're on our way to a more positive bee population. So I don't think we're going to die because of lack of bees, although that is a story that goes around and is scary for people. Okay, so that's, wow. It's all part of the education of humanity, I guess, right? Like we got to learn these things. Okay, deep state museums. So our last question is on deep state museums. Somebody was wanting to know, and it does make sense if all of history is a lie, which mostly I'd say it's 99% a lie. That's my opinion. I'm sticking to it, okay? History is like at least everything about it's misconstrued. And that's like we looked at dinosaurs. Turns out I don't think there was dinosaurs. These could be lizards, and then they added some, who knows, other kinds of bones, or they just made this stuff up. Like, I don't think dinosaurs are real in the way that they talk about them. But anyway, that's just my opinion, and it's the opinion of the cards. So all of these museums with dinosaur bones in them, and all of these museums with false histories about what happened, how we got to where we got to, and all the lies, how humans evolved from apes. Like, I always thought that sounded like a bunch of, what a crock. You know what I mean? Like, come on. Doesn't make any sense, because apes would still be evolving into humans. Like, come on. Anyway, let's have a look at who's running these museums now. So there's still museums all over the world. Who's running these places? Okay, is that White Hat? Are they now taking over control of museums? Do the deep state still run the museums? What's going on there? Because there'd be a lot of good information in there, probably hidden in the archives, the real truth about things. So we've got the 6, so they're moving out of troubled water. I feel like museums could even get used. So I feel like they're going to use the building. So that right away, that tells me it's White Hat. So White Hat Alliance controls museums, but this is a strategy card. The strategy is to use the museums to tell the truth about things. So they're going in the future, these buildings could be used to tell real history as we piece it together. Okay, and explain, they might even explain how things were hidden from us And maybe they'll even have museums of deep state propaganda tools, the museum of psyops and how they do it. And then we'll go look at the museum and understand and watch some films, etc., and understand exactly how they do these large-scale world psyops that fooled everybody. I feel like they're going to use it as an education tool. So looks like it's white hat controlled at this point. So wow, fascinating. Can't wait for that. I'm going to be going. I'm going to be bringing the kids to any show that shows you how psyops are created worldwide to fool us. Yeah. Anyway, well, my kids are all grown up now, but I could probably still talk them into a museum trip with Mom. I love museums, by the way. I've always loved them, you know, even though sometimes when you're like, especially the stuff around apes, we came from ape stuff. I never did really buy that. Yeah, that was always tricky for me. But anyway, it didn't stop me from thoroughly enjoying museum trips with my dad. Some of my best memories are going to the museum with my dad.
Trước tiệc thừa, ít hôm nữa lại đỗ nhỏ. Đến lúc đó, Lưu Mỗ lại phiền kính một chén rượu nhạt đấy. Nào có, Lưu đại nhân khách khí quá rồi. Dương Lăng cười, rồi cũng nâng chén. Lúc này im im ngẫm lại ý tứ trong câu nói vừa rồi. Đề tên trên bảng vàng là Đỗ lớn, động phòng Hoa Trúc là Đỗ nhỏ. Hắn nói mình Đỗ nhỏ là có ý gì? Dương Lăng muốn hỏi lại cho rõ, nhưng ai nấy đều chỉ uống cho cao hứng rồi đi lung tung chuyện trò. Với lấy một người thì lại nhẹ vài câu. Lưu Điền Sử vừa dứt lời đã loạn choạng đi thẳng đến chỗ Vương chủ bộ. Ánh mắt Dương Lăng mải dõi theo lão đến nỗi Hoàng Huệ Thừa đến bên cạnh mà cũng không hay biết. Hoàng Huệ Thừa thong thả bước đến bên cạnh y, ho nhẹ một tiếng rồi mỉm cười nói: Vấn đại nhân sắc thẳng quá. Dựa vào tư cách lai lịch của cậu và mối quan hệ với Vấn đại nhân, theo lão phù đoán, không tới mấy năm nữa có thể tiến lên đến thất phẩm. Tiếp đó có thể vượt được vũ môn hay không, xem phúc khí của cậu nữa. Cậu còn trẻ, chỉ cần cẩn thận làm quan, một mai phong vân tề tụ, tiền đồ tự nhiên là vô lượng. Nóng vội sẽ lại không được. Dương Lăng thấy Hoàng Định Thừa đến một cung kính đáp: Đa tạ Hoàng lão chỉ điểm, học sinh xin thụ giáo. Hoàng Định Thừa thấy xung quanh không có ai chú ý, tự nhiên thất vọng nói: Có điều chuyện lần này cậu đã lỗ mãn rồi. Nhà họ Mã thì đã xa suốt, nhưng suy cho cùng người ta cũng từng làm quan. Hôm nay chuyện của cả cậu ai cũng đã biết. Tại sao cậu cứ kề cà không chịu sắm đồ mua tiếp? Nếu trong túi eo hẹp mấy năm này lão phu vẫn còn chút tiết kiệm, cậu cứ tạm cầm để ứng phó trước vậy. Dương Lăng thất tiếng: Hoàng lão, ông cái gì vậy? Nạp hiếp tôi nói là muốn nạp hiếp khi nào vậy? Ở nữa từ khi nhà họ Mã thì những gì lại chịu làm hiếp người ta? Y vừa nói xong thì Hoàng Huệ Thừa đã giật nảy mình, vội luôn miệng nói: Cẩn thận lời nói, cậu nói bậy bạ gì thế? Làm chết người ta, tuy hơi mất thể diện nhưng mà cũng không ai lại chê cười nàng. Còn cậu nói như vậy, lỡ mà lan truyền ra ngoài, tiểu thư nhà họ Mã làm sao mà sống được đây? Dương Lăng trợn mắt: Ơi, Hoàng lão, rốt cuộc là đã xảy ra chuyện gì vậy? Tại sao học sinh nghe mà không hiểu? Hoàng Viện Thừa cười nói: Nạp thiếp rước người đẻ về, đó là chuyện hết sức phong lưu. Cậu còn nghịch mặt ra là sao? Hôm đó cậu cùng Mã tiểu thư quay về thành, bọn ta với mấy tri huyện đã nghe Mã tiểu thư kể lại đã từng cùng cậu trải qua một đêm trong hố tuyết trên rừng đốn. Nghe trong lúc này, Dương Lăng lúc chợt tỉnh ngộ, không kìm được đành bật cười ha ha. Hoàng lão quả nhiên đã hiểu lầm, lúc cùng Mã tiểu thư chỉ là vì trời đông đất lạnh, không hề có bất kỳ. Nói đến đây, y chợt nhớ đến chuyện hai người từng ôm nhau qua đêm, cho dù ở thời hiện đại cũng đủ coi là mờ ám rồi, nên là y lập tức nghẹn họng không nói được gì nữa. Hoàng Nguyên Thừa vân vê trồng dâu, hơi phật lòng nói: Tóm lại, chuyện cô nam quả nữ cùng nhau qua đêm là thật, đúng không? Nàng ta dám kể chuyện này cho mọi người, hiển nhiên là đã có tình ý với cậu. Nữ tử coi trọng danh khí, nàng còn có thể chọn chồng khác cái giá được sao? Làm giàu thì phải là nhân từ, làm quan thì phải liêm chính, làm người thì phải có tình nghĩa. Cậu là kẻ đọc sách thánh hiền, chẳng nhẽ còn không hiểu đạo lý này hay sao? Ta coi cậu như con cháu nên mới nói câu chân thành như vậy với cậu. Cậu nhất định chớ phạm sai lầm nữa. Dương Lăng thoáng nhẹn lời, nhất thời cũng không nói thêm được gì. Tuyết động dưới chân bờ tường trên con đường truyền tin bị Dương Lăng dẫm lên, phát ra những tiếng rộp rộp. Bước vào thời gian thứ tư của dịch quán, lần đầu nhìn thấy đèn treo trong sân của Mã Liên Nhi vẫn sáng, Dương Lăng nhớ lại lời Hoàng Huyền Thừa đã nói trong bữa tiệc hồi tối. Trong lòng máy động, bên chậm chậm bước tới. Cửa phòng không đóng, dưới ánh đèn có thể thấy khói bếp bên trong lan tỏa ra ngoài. Dương Lăng bước tới cửa, nhìn thấy Mã Liên Nhi đang ngồi trên chiếc ghế đặt trước bếp, một tay chống cằm, một tay châm củi vào trong lò. Dáng trông rất nhàm chán, tư thế uể oải, yêu kiều, động lòng người. Ánh lửa soi lên khuôn mặt trắng bóc như ngọc của nàng, thoáng lộ vẻ ửng hồng mỹ lệ. Đôi mắt quyến rũ như người lờ mờ lộ vẻ trưởng thành. Sự dằn vặt khiến cho người ta trở nên chín chắn. So với buổi đầu gặp gỡ, vị đại tiểu thư này hôm nay đã bớt sôi nổi và cung xuất, bất giác đã nhã nhặn và trầm tính hơn. Dương Lăng gõ nhẹ lên khung cửa, Mã Liên Nhi ngẩng đầu, nhìn thấy y, trong mắt nàng vẫn lóe lên một tia vui mừng và thân thiết. Nàng phấn khởi định đứng dậy, xong lại lập tức thu lại tình cảm đã biểu cầu, mỉm cười nói: từ lúc trở về thành đã mấy ngày rồi không gặp anh, tiệc rượu đã tàn rồi sao? Dương Lăng giật mình không nhịn được bèn hỏi: làm sao cô biết tôi đi dự tiệc? Mã Liên Nhi không trả lời, chỉ dùng cặp mắt biết nói liếc y thật sâu. Dương Lăng chợt sững người, y chợt biết những ngày qua chắc chắn Mã Liên Nhi không lúc nào không để ý tới hành tung của y. Những lời nàng nói trong cái đêm trên vụ sách lĩnh đó thật sự chỉ là nói đùa. Nàng ta dám kể chuyện này cho mọi người, hiển nhiên đã có tình ý với cậu. Nữ tử coi trọng danh tiết, nàng có thể chọn chồng khác tái giá được sao? Ngẫm lại lời của Hoàng Huyền Thừa, Dương Lăng chợt hiểu mình không biết có nhiều cấm kỵ như vậy, nhưng Mã Liên Nhi lại có thể không biết sao? Nàng đã kể lại những chuyện này, rõ ràng là đang tạo ra một sự thật đã rồi, lợi dụng dư luận khiến mình phải rước nàng về. Dương Lăng không khỏi cười khổ. Liên Nhi tiểu thư, có phải là cô đã cố ý đem chuyện chúng ta bị lạc trong rừng, cùng trải qua một đêm dưới hố tuyết kể cho mấy người mẫn lạnh hơn được không? Cô rõ ràng biết những cái thứ lễ nghi phiền phức đó hại chết người, vậy mà còn đem danh tiết của mình ra đùa được, sao cũng có thể làm cái chuyện ngu ngốc như vậy chứ? Mã Liên Nhi chợt ngừng bỏ cồi vào trong lò, im lặng một hồi, rồi đột nhiên bật cười lớn đáp: chẳng phải ngốc sẽ tốt hơn này sao? Chẳng phải người ta từng nói con gái bất tài thì có đức sao? Huynh thích mũi thơm hơn một chút hay là ngốc một chút? Nàng cười có phần xảo quyệt, lại có phần đắc ý như đã đạt được quỷ kế. Dương Lăng gậm chân nói: sao cô lại chẳng biết nặng nhẹ đến như vậy? Mồm hét chết người, cô quá khinh suất rồi. Tay Mã Liên Nhi thoáng run lên, không hề ngẩng đầu lên. Nàng cứ cúi đầu một hồi rồi vẫn nghẹn ngào nói: Dương Lăng, có phải huynh rất ghét muội hay không? Bếp lửa hồng bùng lên những ngọn lửa. Dương Lăng bắt gặp một giọt nước mắt trong suốt nhỏ xuống mu bàn tay nàng, bất giác mềm lòng, bèn vỗ về: sao lại có thể như thế được cơ chứ? Có lúc nào cô thấy tôi ghét cô không? Mã Liên Nhi nín khóc mỉm cười, dường như là chưa thấy. Huynh có thích muội không? Muội nhìn sang ngay. Bếp lửa hồng sáng rực, vẻ mặt tươi cười rạng rỡ đã mang đầy nét vui sướng lẫn đắc ý. Dương Lăng buồn bực, nhà đầu này chẳng những diện mạo giống hồ ly tinh, bụng dạ cũng hệt như một cô nàng tiểu hồ ly. Thật không biết mới nãy nàng ta thực sự đau lòng hay là cả đò đau lòng nữa. Bộ dạng của nàng nào có giống như người mới khóc đâu. Bị y nhìn chằm chằm, Mã Liên Nhi vậy mà lại biết thẹn thùng. Nàng cười ngượng nghịu cúi đầu, đỏ mặt nói: Dương đại ca, đêm đó là cô không tốt. Huynh nói đúng, Nếu như Huynh thực sự thôi ống Huynh, như vậy còn đáng kể một Huynh sao? Hôm đó ở dưới thành, nhìn thấy ánh mắt Huynh nhìn ống Huynh thì muội đã biết cả cuộc đời này sẽ không có ai có thể thay thế vị trí nặng ấy trong trái tim Huynh. Muội nào dám mộng tưởng tranh giành địa vị đó. Muội chỉ hy vọng Huynh cũng có thể đối xử tốt với muội, thì muội đã đủ thỏa mãn rồi. Đang ngẩn ngơ nhìn chăm chăm vào ánh lửa bập bùng, ánh mắt tràn ngập sự khao khát được hạnh phúc, rồi nói với giọng mơ màng: muội chỉ cần có một phu quân có thể cưng muội yêu muội thì đã cảm thấy mỹ mãn rồi. Ăn ngon mặc ấm, muội không khao khát. Còn địa vị chính thế, nếu như một đôi nam nhân coi nữ nhân là tài sản riêng của mình giống như cha mẹ, và cũng như rất nhiều nam nhân đại như chúng ta, thì cái gọi chính là thê đó liệu có đem đến hạnh phúc cho người ta không? Bằng dòng điệu cứng cỏi chứa đựng một sự chín chắn không cân xứng với tuổi tác, đang thổ lộ nội tâm thiếu nữ vẫn dừng lại. Muội lớn lên ở vùng bên ngoài, ăn nói cư xử không biết lễ quy củ như con chung người chúng ta, nhưng muội tuyệt đối không phải là một đứa con gái tùy tiện. Dương đại ca, muội sẽ tuân theo đạo ngàn vợ, kính trọng tấm lương. Dương lại dậm chân cười khổ: cô ngày thường thấy cô thông minh lắm mà, sao lại bất chấp ly lại như vậy?